All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is episode 19 of the Last One Fast One podcast. We have a special guest. There's probably two ways you know him. You know him either from his swim career. He dominated up at Arizona State. He's a Pac-12 finalist. And he on Twitter, this guy's got 34,000 loyal ones following him. We're honored to have you on the podcast, Kyle. It's Kyle Sockwell.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's a few bots in there, but I think Elon's trying to clean it up. I don't really know what that guy's doing over there, but it's been interesting to watch so far.
Gotcha. Are you going to pay for your verified check mark, or is that going to go?
I don't know. I mean, so like that check was really weird. I just like woke up to 5 or 6 text messages from some of my friends, and like they were like congratulating me. I was like, on what? And then one of them was like something about like a blue check. And I went to Instagram like an idiot, as if like Instagram was just going to like float me on, because I had nothing going on there. And I was like, what's going on? And then I went on to Twitter and it was just there. I was like, all right, this is a thing now. And then now, yeah, I don't know. Now it's $8 a month. It's like not a lot of money, but I don't know. I'm not really into it. I think it's cool, like having a verified media personality in swimming. I think it helps, I don't know, make it seem more legit, but yeah, I don't know if I'm going to pay for it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So before we get into the Twitter and kind of your following, how you got into that, let's talk a little bit about your swimming. So how'd you find swimming?
Oh man, I grew up with a pool in my backyard my entire life. So I was swimming, from like 1 year old. So I swam. I think my first race was when I was like 5. My mom had to bribe me to do a 25 free with a pack of Pokemon cards. I was like, yeah, whatever, let's do this thing. So I did that. And I think it just kind of like, I think I might've like won my heat or something and got like a little, like scratched that itch a little bit, where I was like, it's kind of fun, like winning and like beating people. And so then I started coming back to it. And then, yeah, it took me all the way up through high school. Really was, I was okay in high school. I think I was like a 57.5 in the 100 breast and a 151 in the 2 IM. Went out to George Mason and then had a pretty good freshman year. Went 352 in the 4 IM, 150.0 in the 2 IM, and then like 202 in the 200 breast. And the cold just really wasn't for me. And I was like, had a pretty good year. I think I could probably reevaluate my weather decisions for my college career, and decided to go to like one of the hottest places on earth and went to Arizona State. Swam pretty well out there. I think I just kind of got stuck into swimming the same way I always had. And that's kind of like, we'll talk about it later, but where I'm at in swimming right now. Yeah. And I swam well. I went like 158 and 100 breasts, scored some points at Pac-12s, and, most importantly, made some friendships that are going to last a really long time.
For sure.
For sure.
What would you say like your highlight of your college swim career was, or like either it's a race or like a season or a meet? What do you think it was?
Oh, that's a good question. Maggie McNeil just went 21.03 in the 50 free, by the way.
Oh, she's moving. Are you watching it live or?
Oh, it wouldn't be Kyle Sockwell if he didn't have swimming going at the same time. Come on. It's invite season, boys. That's tough. A lot of people would probably say, and it's fine if you think like, going to best time was the best time. It's a little doubling up there on the best times, is, the best part of your career. Mine was, we had this dual meet against Arizona at ASU, and Phelps swam in the breaks, and we had some pros out there training too. And so some pros were out there training and doing all these races in the breaks, and we walked around the university, and handed out flyers. And we were like, yo, come to the meet. Michael Phelps is going to swim. And we really had no idea how many people were going to show up. And I think I don't know where the picture is. I think it's somewhere on my Instagram, but the stands were completely full. Completely full. And that week leading up to it, I had gotten sick. And like my throat was like swelling up. I couldn't like breathe. So I was like trying to make my way through it. And I knew I was doing a 4 IM at this meet against U of A, and was hoping the stands would be full. And it's funny because like I really didn't swim very well. I had, an okay 400 IM. And I mean, it was just like looking up at the stands and being like, wow, like this feels almost like playing in a, you know, an NCAA ranked basketball game.
Yeah.
I mean, there were people like, I don't know if you know the layout of the Moto Plummer Aquatic Center, but you've got like the stands here, and then you've got a parking garage on this side and a parking garage back here.
Okay.
And there were people like tailgating in the parking garages.
No way.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I think that's the highlight. And for people that were on the team with me at the same time, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was, you know, the highlight for them as well, which is funny because, I mean, typically in swimming, dual meets aren't exciting. And probably the highlight of my career was a dual meet at ASU. So
yeah. Did you guys
incredible.
end up beating Arizona?
We did. We did.
Sweet.
Yeah. So we got after it. I think like we told them a couple days before we got going, like, hey, we're going to suit and drop taper for this.
Nice.
And they're like, what? And we were like, oops, sorry. Cause I think we're like, it was our first year with Bob and he wanted to make a statement. And yeah, I mean, it was a blast. I think we won maybe on like one of the last relays.
Oh, no way. Cool.
I forget when we had it won, but I mean, we won the opening relay, and I mean, the way that the dual meets are laid out, where you have like the 200 medley relay, and then you go right into the 1,000, like really sucks. But I mean, the place was rocking for that first 200. I think I can't remember if the women won or not, but when the men won that 200 freestyle relay, and it was a close race. Man, we were going ballistic. Like, it's still a really vivid memory. I remember like telling myself I needed to calm down.
So like, all right, so post college you take a break from swimming. Are you still like keeping up with the media? Like, what's happening during that break?
Yeah, so it's an interesting, like, timeline? I don't know, the timeline of me coming back into like swimming and getting into I guess like the media side of things is really strange. So you guys remember Vine?
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like out of nowhere. I mean, just started like making like funny videos on deck at ASU, and they like started to do really well. And so it's like, if you look at like where I'm at right now, and I still think I have a long way to go. You know, if you followed me today and looked at like the stuff that I'm doing, you'd be like, oh, wow, he's been doing this from the beginning. Like he was a journalism major or, you know, something like that.
Right.
Dude, no, I got my start on Vine. I was making.
You're like Logan Paul, right? Or Big Paul,
yeah,
right?
pretty much. I mean, I wish I was making Logan Paul coin. That dude's figured it out. But yeah, I mean, I started making like little 6.5 second videos, and from there started. Well, I guess when it was announced that Twitter was buying Vine, and then they were going to kind of like try and blend it into Twitter, I was like, oh man, like, I don't know, maybe this is an opportunity for me to like blend a different platform into, you know, I mean, I had done like 5 to 10 million loops is what they called it on Vine. So I wasn't like huge, but I mean, it's decent. I mean, I wish those views were on YouTube, but we're working on it. But so, yeah, from there, I mean, it just kind of like, it was just a consistency thing. So I just started tweeting out funny shit, and that was like about it. Like, just did it for years and years and years, and then started to blend into like just being a voice in swimming that's just like purely reactionary and unfiltered. And, you know, there's no running it through like, you know, a chief editor or anything like that.
Right.
And I think that's something that the sport was like desperate for.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, here we are now. So now I'm back in the sport somehow.
For
Actually
sure.
in the water.
So I'm probably gonna mess up the flow of this podcast. So I want to take it back to swimming just for one more minute, and I want to talk about what it was like swimming with Phelps while Phelps was there training, and then what it was like when Bob Bowman came in your senior year and took over. So talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get back to the media.
Yeah, so I actually had kind of a weird swimming career. I ended up blowing out my left shoulder pretty bad on a sprint 25 free. I love and hate telling this story because I remember being hurt in the moment because I actually did hurt myself. And we'll get a little graphic for a second. you know how like when you're underwater, you guys ever like do this thing?
Yeah.
Or like stomp your heel on the ground and it like clicks and you can hear it from like the other side of the pool. So like sound travel is really weird in water. And you can kind of like hear clicks and cracks a lot easier than in the air. Because it's pretty quiet down there outside of, you know, whatever's happening. And so I came up to break out for a 25 free, and I break out with my left arm, which my left shoulder is blown out, and my shoulder kind of shot down and out and then like wrapped around and then came back in, all right within like an inch and a half of my ear. And so I heard like everything that happened in there and was like, that's not good. Like that's an issue. And I mean, with like Luke, or, you know, have you guys heard of like Luca Orlando and his situation? And I mean, he's had multiple shoulder dislocations. So it was a really similar instance. You know, when you're doing a breakout, I think his was on a pullout. You're in a really precarious situation for your shoulders. And so I did the same thing on that 25 free, and it shot out and came back around and in. I don't know if Lucas came back in immediately. And I hope his recovery goes well, because that dude's an electric swimmer. And yeah, so shoulder kind of blew out, and then I was out of the water for a little while, and then had just come back in, and then heard that we were going to have a coaching change. And I think all the way up until the moment that Bob walked out, we thought it was going to be a former assistant coach at USC. And then we were at like an alumni meeting when they did like this big announcement, and I didn't know it was Bob until he literally walked out there. And so I had never seen Bob on deck or anything like that, because he was coaching Michael, and I was like doing junior national meets at the time. So he really wasn't coaching any like junior level people. So that was my first time seeing like the guy, and I grew up in the Phelps era, man. I was like in it. So I was like, whoa, that's the guy that made that fish guy. Cool. And I was like, oh, wait, he's going to be my coach now. And so then I was like, that's cool. And then I was like, ooh, I wonder what that's going to be like. And so, I mean, there was a transitional period where Bob had to kind of learn, because we were a rebuilding program at the time. And I mean, he had to learn to work with people that were still trying to figure out how to be great. I mean, our entire team was good. We had some great guys on the team. I was definitely teetering between like good and great, and I kind of ended my career in that spot, which is probably why I'm like trying to scratch the itch and come back to 100 breaststroke. But I mean, at the end of it, he definitely was the best coach I've ever had. The intent behind everything, the explanation of why, the sitting you down at the beginning of the year and breaking down what the entire season is going to look like, and why certain parts of the season you're going to feel really tired, you're going to be confused and hurting, and what he wants you thinking about in that time, was just a really different experience than anything I had experienced before. Phelps on deck was another strange thing. I was like, that's cool. I mean, we were like pretty separate. We would like see some of his workouts, and I mean, he did stuff in the pool that was just ridiculous. So did Chase Kalish and a lot of those other guys. And I mean, yeah, it was just one of those weird things where it almost felt like it wasn't like real. And then like watching him swim in the break at that meet, and then watching him like cheer for our team, and like all that stuff was just kind of like pretty surreal. But yeah, it was a good way to end the career. I ended up leaving the sport kind of with a bad taste in my mouth, just I think because of the shoulder injury and the lack of progress for about a year, and probably mostly because I neglected trying to learn and trying to swim differently than I had before, and was just repeatedly just hammering home these, because I was a really good trainer. I worked really, really hard. I could go 403, 404 and a 400 IM from a push probably 10 times in a row, but I could go 401 one time from a dive at a meet. So I was in probably the best shape I was going to be in, but the technique wasn't there. And it's something that I didn't really learn until like 3 years ago. I think so. We're working on it now. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool to say the least.
Yeah,
I gotcha. So
very cool.
Yeah, heading back to like social media and everything, what do you think was like the biggest thing that led to your success in social media? Like you talked about consistency. Was it anything else that did it?
It's a good question. Never really thought about it. I always just told myself it was consistency. I think there really wasn't anybody talking about swimming from like I call myself a professional fan to an extent. Because I don't really want to be like a reporter. I don't want to go dig for stories. I don't want to do any of that. I want to, the whole goal with everything that I'm doing. And, if I'm 60 years old and still doing this and look back and, see a change in the pool of professional athletes that are able to make swimming a viable career, then I think I've done my job. Swimming is where we're set up in a really bad way to monetize our face. I mean, because really our face is the moneymaker. I mean, it's the only reason people pay you for endorsement deals. And I mean, your face, and like, that's why they like take Ryan Lochte and they put him on the Ralph Lauren ads during the Olympics. And for 3 years, you're like, where do you go? And so, our sport, and it's no secret that, the quadrennial and every 4 years having the Olympics, having this big boom, and then a bunch of like, for like 3 years is not great. But yeah, I think it was just being willing to talk as like we would off camera. I think we have a really hard time in swimming just talking and saying what we're thinking. We're really filtered, and we're just like very hardwired to lean over the lane rope after a race, after adding 4 seconds and getting beat by a guy that like called you something in the locker room, and shaking his hand and giving him a hug and telling him congratulations and popping a party popper over his head. When in reality, like in no other sport do you really do that.
Yeah.
And so I think it was something that people latched onto because they had wished it had happened before. So I think it's just less filtered, and slowly getting less and less filtered as I get older.
Gotcha. And was it just kind of like a steady growth? So you get on Twitter. Is it like, like 1,000, 2,000? Did you have any things that like you posted and it was like, holy shit, like a ton of people?
Yeah, I mean, I've had some tweets go pretty crazy. The most recent one was during the 2022 women's NCAAs. Okay. I got my first taste of what it's like outside of swimming media. There was some controversy around that meet with Leah Thomas swimming.
Yeah.
And I posted a tweet that was, I mean, the entire time I was right in the middle. It was as close as I've gotten to journalism, and I don't want to get any closer than that. Right. And I mean, it went, let me see if I can pull up stats real quick. I mean, it was insane. People were like sending me the meanest shit you've ever thought of in your life in DMs. And I was just like, all I did was share this tweet of a quote from a girl that I think got 17th. But it got 24 million impressions.
24 million.
24 million people saw it, got 21.4 thousand likes and 1,700 replies. Wow. So I did 36.3 million impressions during the month of March in 2022. Wow. And so that was kind of like a wake up call to an extent, where I was like, before that, I mean, the growth was slow enough for a while where that, like, it always felt like I was talking to my friends. Yeah. Because I reply to a ton of people. I favorite a ton of stuff, and I try to like make it feel like, you're in the room with me. That's the goal. And I mean, for a while it got up to like 20 to 21,000. It was a really slow build, and it sat there for a long time and didn't grow. And then all of a sudden, like 2 years ago, I would say, it just took off. And I started growing like 400 to 500 a month, and then had a couple months where I put on like 1,500 to 1,700. And I think it was just kind of a culmination of the consistency and the development of my voice and development of who I am and how I talk. People started to resonate with it. And then also, starting to figure out what people wanted to hear. A lot of people look at social and media and they're like, no, like you should never adapt what you really feel like. And I'm like, that's stupid. Like, if your goal going into it is to only talk like you, I mean, does anyone go into a job and only do the things that they want to do and only say the things that they want to say? No, I mean, you have goals, you have intentions. And if you want to filter the way that you're talking about one thing to reach that goal and not like cause other problems at the same time, then absolutely I'm going to do that. And I think it was just a culmination of like just growth, personal growth, growth in being able to talk to people, interact with people, and learn what people like and what they don't like, to be like the place that people go for like a really raw reaction and a place to go interact with the most important content that's happening in swimming.
I gotcha. Yeah. So now we're going to move into chasing trials. All right.
Oh boy.
Let's hear about it.
I absolutely love this bit. All right. I'm a huge fan personally. I watched like 4 of the videos today after Paul let me know. So when do you think like you started getting back in the water to train for it?
So I hinted at it earlier. My exit from the sport was not clean. I didn't want anything to do with swimming for about, I want to say like close to 12, 13 months. I just started lifting really heavy. And got like, my body type is that if I like walk by a squat rack and there's more than 135 on it, my legs like get bigger. Just like seeing it, or like by association. And so I got really big. Like I think at my heaviest, I was like 218. In college, I was 163 when I was like really swimming well. So I put on like 50 pounds of pretty much just raw muscle, a little bit of cushion too. And was just like, I was a different person. I mean, when you put on 50 pounds and distribute it throughout, I mean, my traps were huge. My back was giant. I was a 400 IMer. My legs were massive. And I was squatting like 495 and deadlifting, I think, over 500.
I still couldn't bench.
Yeah. I was squatting real heavy. Yeah. I was moving weight. But I still couldn't bench. I've never benched over 225. So like my powerlifting, like total would have looked like I was on like the trajectory to put up like 385 on bench, and then I'd probably put on like 185 and like be like leaning, like when you're benching you start leaning on one side. Yeah, I'd like work it up like that. So I was huge, and then I did that for a long time and had one day where I think I bent over to tie my shoes, and I remember like just like getting in my own way, because I'm probably like 5'10" and a half, but I call myself 5'11" because I'm insecure. It's a joke, by the way. I like bent over to like try to tie my shoes and was just like in my own way. I was like, this is hard. And then I had this moment, I was just done right then. I was like, I'm not lifting like that anymore. Like, what's the point? Like, what am I trying to prove? I think I was just looking for an outlet to chase like success and chase like physical success. So I was like, I'm done with this. And then I came back. I was at Gold's Gym at the time. And there was like this dungeon of a pool, super dark, like echoey, probably 3 foot deep. I think it was 25 yards, which probably didn't help, which will make sense in a second. And I was like, I'm bigger now. I wonder if I can just like sprint a 25 now. So I went on the other end of the pool and there's a clock on the other end. I was like, I'm going to time it and just dive in and go. And I dove in cold turkey after probably 13 months out of the water, 50 pounds heavier than I was in college, and tried to do a sprint 25 free. And I think I went like 13.5 yards. I looked up at the clock and was just like saying some really negative stuff in my head, got out, and that was it. That was it for like another 8 months. Wow. I didn't touch the water. And then, I mean, I was in and out intermittently. I started like trying to lose a little bit of weight and get back down to a frame that like I carried better, just throughout the day doing like daily tasks, like tying your shoes and cooking. Cause I mean, at the end of the day, it's important unless you're a real professional athlete, is like how your body operates cooking and, taking a shower. I'd like to not be like out of breath, walking towards the couch to watch Yellowstone. And yeah, from there, I mean, I slowly trickle back down. I think I'm like 190 right now. Still want to get down a little bit. But then I started training with some friends, just starting to like try and get back in shape and started to get that itch again. and was doing like some sets here and there. But I mean, I had not really strung together a good like month of workouts, consistent workouts for, I mean, 7 years. And then I was just kicking around the idea. I was trying to think like, because there was a part of me that was like, I felt like I wasn't maximizing the opportunity that I had on Twitter. I mean, I'll do a few million impressions a month and I'll look at it and be like, that's cool. And for now, it was just kind of a fun outlet. And I was like, I have an opportunity here. Like, why am I not filling the extra 5-6 hours a week that I have, and trying to like maximize this and create something out of it? And so I was kicking around the idea of starting a podcast. I have some equipment here with me that I'll get going soon. And I mean, I was just like, all right, whatever. Like, I just need to commit to this thing. And so I opened up, and I had seen them before. I had an idea of what the 100 breast cut was. I thought it was like a 103.8, I think. And I opened them up.
Got fast. Those cuts got crazy.
It's insane. I honestly think the 100 breast might be the fastest cut, but it's the only one that like I think physically I'm capable of attempting. And because I still can't do backstroke right now, otherwise I'd consider the 200 IM. But I opened them up and I looked at it. My first reaction was like, there's no way. And then in that moment, I was like, I think that's kind of the point of the whole series is, you know, I was like, I think I went 106.3 in a long course 100 breast on a relay in like a random summer when I wasn't really training, where I'm kind of at, or was at for like the last 7 years. I was definitely training more and was in better shape, but I was out like 30.2 and then came back 36 flat, I think. And I was like, that's the whole point of this series is, you know, a crazy goal, 2 years of training and a ton of content coming out in the swimming world where, you know, I mean, I train with Josh Pernot a good amount, and he's definitely pretty hard on my technique and a lot faster than me, which is not shocking. But like combining a lot of those minds and thoughts into a content series that hopefully grows into something that, you know, has like financial backing at some point, and I can go out and train like in Indiana, I can go train in Arizona, I can train in Texas, I can go all over the place and just kind of pool all this feedback together. And then, you know, I was talking to Josh like the other day about it actually in the hot tub. And I was like, dude, I think the worst case scenario for this entire thing is I end up going the most exciting 107 long course 100 breaststroke of all time. And that's how the series ends. And I'm like, if that's worst case scenario, then the series is a success no matter what.
Yeah.
And so it was just this culmination of like leaving the sport in a really bad way. It wasn't like, if I don't make Olympic trials, then my life as a swimmer is a failure. It was, if I don't leave the sport with a good taste in my mouth and take it into my 50s, 60s and keep swimming, and then, you know, be comfortable introducing my kids to the sport that I hated for 6 years, then I think that's where the failure would lie. And so just sat like literally right here with this microphone and my iPhone, talked to the camera for 6 minutes, opened my YouTube channel, which had 30 subscribers at the time, and was like looking at the video that was ready to be published. And I was like having second thoughts. And then something in my brain just said, click publish. And I just clicked it. And then I just saw red and just opened Twitter, dropped it in there. And I was like, there we go. Insane goal. Nice. And I had people texting me immediately and they were like, 102 is crazy. Like, but at the same time, like all of the feedback that I've gotten has been either positive, I love this series, or this is going to be really difficult, but like, I'm excited to see how far you go. And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Why not? Right. You got nothing
to
lose.
I'm super excited to watch this. I'll be following along. All right.
I love it.
So you just swam your first meet.
I did. Yeah.
Let's hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, so we talked, I think before the show, about where I was at before that meet. I posted that video like I just mentioned, and I have vacation coming up in like 3 days. And so I posted that, and I had been training like a decent amount, nothing really that consistent, but I went on vacation and I trained like 4 out of 7 days, got one long course workout in that was like a serious kick in the mouth. I went like a fast 50 breaststroke and then turned and like found the clock and then like looked between the fog of my goggles to try and find it. And I saw it click from 36 to 37. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like expecting to be 34 already or 33. And came back. And then I wasn't really planning on doing a meet this soon. And then my buddy Cody, who swam out in Arizona, messaged me and was like, we were talking back and forth about this goal, and he's coming back and trying to make the TYR Pro Series and the 200 free.
Cool.
And he was like, I just registered for USA Swimming. Like, you want to do this meet with me? Like, let's see if we can get you registered. And then he like pushed me through the whole process. We did it really fast. I mean, USA Swimming does not make it easy to register as an athlete. It was a brutal process. And if I didn't have him there, there's no way I would have gotten it done. 0% chance. And he just kind of pushed me through it. And then all of a sudden I was registered for a meet. And right when I got the email back from the head coach of this swim club, I was like, oh no, like, this is real now. This is real and this is terrifying. And like the anxiety, like 7 years of not having to be anxious about swim meets was like back within 2 days.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I started training a little bit more like focused on a 25 breaststroke and like figuring stuff out. And then leading into it, I did not feel good about it. I was just getting like really tired. I felt sluggish and like heavy in the water, probably from vacationing for a while. Oh, and then I also went straight out to Indianapolis actually. So here's the timeline. We're starting to put this all together. Vacation in Florida for 6 days, fly from Florida to the border of Alabama and Florida for a bachelor party for 3 days. And then from there, come home to Austin for 2 days. I think I get one swim in. Then I go out to Indy for the World Cup because FINA wanted to fly me out there for it.
No way.
I got to swim one time out there. Then I came back and probably got a weekend and then swam that 100 breast. And so thinking about it like that now, you know, 008's not that bad.
Yeah.
But I just like everything felt wrong and weird.
Yeah.
It also was just freezing out there. I tried to time my run up to behind the blocks like perfectly so that I would like be in the pool and then run over there and then just go off the blocks. I did it terribly. The last heat of the 200 free before me, I was going to go over right when they started it. So they started a run over there, and there was like a really young kid in the heat. I love that. But the 200 free took a while, and I was standing there like, oh no. And so I was just getting really, really, really cold. And then I got up on the blocks and just kind of blacked out.
Yeah.
The race was not clean. And I mean, my stroke technique is still the exact same that it was back in college, maybe a little bit worse. And I think after that race, and if you guys have seen the video, I mean, I wrote down 57.8. I might have it with me. No, whatever. But 57.8. And then, like, on the third 25 of that race, I remember thinking, like, oh man, like, I think I'm going to go 59, as if like that was bad in my head. And then so I'm finishing that last 25, and I turn and I look up and I see 1008. And I was like, my first thought was, oh, that can't be for me. And I started like trying to look for another time on the board. And then I was like, wow. All right, reality check. And I mean, it is what it is. I got to go a lot faster, but I mean, technically I already went faster than 102.19. It was just in a different pool.
There we go. Sweet. So, I just lost my train of thought. So talk a little bit about like how you're training now. So I know you had all those events, and like the bachelor party in Florida, but what do you foresee your training schedule to be like from this point on?
Yeah. So I'm kind of approaching it in different phases. Right now it's getting back into shape, which I mean, that is as raw of a phrase as it is. I mean, swimmers have their idea of shape, right? I'm talking about the guy that is trying to stay in shape I'm getting back to that shape because I'm definitely not. I mean, I'm not in great shape right now. I got out of shape for a while, and was like 195 pounds, not good weight. If you want to be 195 pounds and walk around with that, that's totally fine. I'm not saying everybody needs to be 5% body fat or lower. But if I'm going to go 102.19, 100 breaststroke, then I have some things that I need to do because this is my vehicle to get there. And so right now I'm trying to shave down, probably get to like 178 or so. So drop 12 pounds and do it in the right way and pair that with cardio and learning how to eat better. It's in college, I ate so bad. It's not even funny. I mean, I did just about everything wrong in college. And I think that might be like a small piece of why I'm doing this is like to prove to my younger self that like that wasn't as fast as I could have gone. I could have gone faster, you idiot. And so pairing that like better eating, better hydration with some cardio and learning how to swim better at the same time is kind of the first stage. And then once I get through that, then we're going to go into like some serious swimming training where I'm going to go through a technique overhaul, which I'm already kind of going through. I forget. Let me pull up what Prino texted me. It was pretty funny. We texted for like a whole day about after he saw that I went 008, he was like, oh Lord. Let me see what it is. Oh, he goes, you got to fundamentally change the way you swim breaststroke, fam. And then the handshake emoji. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And then he said, needs more body, looks like all arms. And then he sent me a huge paragraph, which I might be saving for a Chasing Trials episode in the future. But I mean, he's right now. And my arms were like concrete on that last 25. And somebody actually replied and was like, you know what? Like you said, you felt like you had a grand piano on your back on that last 25. And that last 25, you're the best technique of your entire 100 breaststroke. And it's probably because your body was like, arms are gone, use your body. When in reality, I should have started using my body up front so that my arms wouldn't have left in the first place. And so it's just thinking like that and watching a ton of race video. Like I have Anton Chupkov's 200 breaststroke where he went 206.80. My bookmarks on Google Chrome, it's just like 70 breaststroke videos. Like Rebecca Sony breaststroke kicking against a wall with the race club. Various Adam Peaty videos, even though I think he's just an anomaly. Chupkov, Zach's Double D Cook. And I mean, it's funny because when you think about what someone trying to go 100 and 100 breaststroke, what you think they would do is they would just start studying the 100 breaststroke. I haven't done that at all. I mean, I've looked at PD a little bit, but I'm just like, that's not me. I can't do that. And that's fair. I mean, it's just self-awareness. Yeah. I've been studying the 200 because these guys are going 101.5 going out in a 200. So I need to see what the hell the disconnect is between me sprinting a 1008 short course yards and these guys going 101.5 in a long course 100 breaststroke and then doing another 100 after it. Like their 101.5 is probably at like 155 heart rate. And then that second 100, they're coming up to like 180. And then that's where they really get into the pain cave. And I'm like, all right, if that's happening, I need to just watch this first 100 1,000 times and figure out how I can go out that first 50 like they're doing a 200, maybe a little bit harder for me because I'm not world class, and then sprint a second 50 one time and go 102.18 and then just be like, we're good. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of video review. It's a lot of looking at, the way that people catch in breaststroke and the way that their feet move and then just micro goals, man. You gotta give yourself stepping stones. Otherwise, if I dive in long course and go like 112, things are going to be really tough mentally.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, hey, you got the goal set up and you've got a game plan. I like where it's going. I'm really excited to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like in that last episode, towards the end of it, I got like a little bit raw. And I was like, the only way that this is a failure is if I bail in the middle of 2023. And like, obviously if I get injured or, something happens and I have to stop, then that's one thing. But if I bail because I'm not going as fast as I thought I would, then it's a failure. And I'm putting that message out there to everybody that if you don't reach this goal that you set, then you failed. And I think swimmers are really, really bad about that. We set these extremely lofty goals, which is a good thing. We write them down. They feel really concrete. We do all the splits and we're like, all right, this is how I can get there. And then if we don't, it's the end of the world. And in reality, we just dropped 4 seconds in a 400 and just missed our ridiculous world record goal by 20. And it's really hard mentally. And that's where a lot of swimmers, I think, get caught up is we have all these expectations because the only way that you can be seen as successful really in our sport is the ultimate goals are an Olympic gold medal and a world record. Right. So I was talking to Josh about it yesterday, actually. And he was like, the difference between making an Olympic team and not making an Olympic team right now for professional swimmers is like tens of thousands of dollars and $0, which is like the main ethos of why I'm doing what I'm doing is the ecosystem of professional swimming in the way that it's set up right now to where if you get third in the 200 breaststroke at Olympic trials, you're making $0. But if the person that gets second is making 50 and the person above them is making 100, like that's just not healthy. You need to have an entire A final and even down to a B final of monetizable athletes to be able to start to build an ecosystem of people that can pursue swimming full time. Because I remember like Tyler Clary was working a second job when he was trying to make the Olympics. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's awesome. But at the same time, if he could have pursued it full time, would he have done better? And so we got a long way to go. People have tried to make money in swimming for a long time. And I think another like small reason about why I'm doing this 100 breaststroke is, I tweeted first swim meet in 7 years. Here are some of the things that I'm afraid of as like, it was satire. I think only like 80% of people like realize that for some reason. People were like, you're not going to break a world record, so don't worry about that. I was like, yeah, I know. I'm trying to make Olympic trials and I might not even make the Olympic trials cut short course right now. But if I go 107 in the 100 breaststroke and 100,000 people watch it, like the issue isn't the sport. People are interested and people are ready to be engaged with it. The issue is how we deliver that sport and the stories to the fans and how we build stories around it and build personalities and, get the cap and goggles off of athletes and let them sit down and talk to people about, I don't know, their favorite pasta, like their favorite restaurant, space, just like random shit because swimming and I love nerding out about swimming. Mm-hmm. I could do it all day. And I have friends that I do that with. But the casual fan, I mean, I compare it a lot to MMA because I work pretty closely to the UFC and in that space and a couple really high profile athletes that make 15x the amount they make from the UFC outside of the UFC. And I mean, it's set up pretty well because their face is everywhere. It's on graphics. Their tattoos are everywhere. So they're easy to recognize and easy to throw in a TV commercial or, hold a product on Instagram. Yeah, I mean, it's just different. I mean, the story, the way that they deliver it, the way that they hype up these matchups. And I mean, I don't know that it's 1-to-1. Well, I know that it's not 1-to-1, but I also know that there are levels that we are behind them that we shouldn't be. And I mean, talking to Fina and Indy, it sounded promising with some of the new staff that they have over there. And the fact that they flew me out there, not to like sound like conceited, but for them to notice what's going on and say, we want to spend money to fly you out here for 5 days solo with no intention. Don't want you to work. Don't want you to do anything. We just want you to watch the meet. Gives me a little bit of hope for where the future of like the World Cup and FINA is going. So yeah. We got a lot of work to do to make the sport exciting, but the fact that you guys are starting a podcast means that we're in the right spot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because we had Justin Ress on a couple episodes ago and he was saying the exact same thing about how do we make the sport exciting. And he talked about how the sport, it's too much pressure on the athletes when the only time they can make money is like the Olympics or Olympic trials. So his whole thing was all kind of about the ISL and how to make swimming a more exciting league, like a football league is and a basketball. So you guys were literally like exact same points right there.
Yeah, and I mean, Josh had the same thoughts. I talked to Ryan Murphy and Will Lacone at the Indy World Cup, and we talked about the same thing. And, we've got a lot of guys that are on the end of their swimming career. And another thing that like really sucks in the sport is when you're done swimming, you're done swimming. 99% of professional swimmers, when they quit swimming, quit is a really harsh word, when they retire, they have to go find work outside of the sport. No one can stay in it because there's so many limited, or the pool of jobs is so small. You have Rowdy Gaines, who does a great job. You have a couple other commentators. I do a little bit of commentary, but I mean, most of the commentators on like these live streams and stuff are just local guys that they just throw in there. Dude, if they could just have me pull this over and watch the live stream and talk, like, dude, I'm watching the meet anyway. And like, people want to listen to that. And so, I mean, it's a structural thing. It's a budget thing. There's 1,000 layers to it. But I mean, I've got a lot of stuff planned, and hopefully it works out to start to help fuel the middle class of swimming, if you will. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be able to fund a Caleb Dressel at any point in my career. And I think putting pressure on Speedo to pay him more money is maybe the role that I play eventually. But a lot of swimmers are thinking it. We just need to start putting the pieces together and figure out how to make, the guy that B finals, the guy that semifinals at Olympic trials and misses an A final makes money somehow.
Yeah.
Sounds like a terrifying thing. But he also needs to do it 4 times. He can't do it once a year.
Right.
Yeah,
for sure.
I completely agree with it. Yeah. Like he was saying, Justin Arrest had literally similar ideas. And Paul, we might have to like fix up our fun questions because he was rambling off some good ones.
For sure. So we'll wrap it up. We don't want to take too much of your time. We know, you got a swim meet to watch right now.
Yeah, I think, Maggie McNeil's back breast. Maggie McNeil's about to go if you want to do some live reaction here.
Well, let's do it. Let's send it.
She's about to do 100 fly. So we've got 50 more of breaststroke. I think so. LSU's leading right now. And so we'll just talk a little bit. I mean, this is what I do. So you're getting inside the head of me, which is normally me alone in this room. So Baylor Nelson, do you guys know who Baylor Nelson is?
I do not.
I don't know Baylor Nelson now.
So he's the top recruit. You should get him on here soon. Out of high school, freshman at A&M. So A&M got the number 1 recruit of the class, and
wow.
Maggie's about to send it. Oh, wait, no, LSU's getting smoked. Bama's winning. Maggie's way behind. So he anchored their 200 freestyle relay and was out 8.8 to the feet, missed his wall, and came back 11.4, then went like 20.5. So this meet's been interesting. Maggie went 20.5 in a 50 free. Dude, her underwaters are insane.
20.5 is dirty. Yeah,
she just went 22.7 to the hands, 50 fly going out in 100. So 22.71. Yeah, I mean, normally this is like if you listen to it in here.
Yeah.
This is how it sounds when I'm live tweeting. So when you see all those exclamation points and those, for some reason, the cold face emoji, this is what it sounds like. It's all in my head. She is 22.71. Let's see what she finishes at here. 26.39. So she was 49.1.
That is blazing.
Yeah, it's nasty. That 20.5 was quick. We'll do a fun question. I don't know if you guys have thought about this or seen it online, but do you think an NCAA record is going to get broken during invite season?
I don't think so. I don't know. I would say no, but where's Arizona State going for their midseason invite?
So they're at GAC. They're at Greensboro Aquatic Center.
Okay.
So they've got NC State out there.
It's happening.
I would say my guess is no. Luke's got yes. What do you got?
I think it I think yes. I know there's been some recent tragic events from Virginia, and I don't know how that team is doing mentally, and completely understandable. But 21-1 in a training suit from Gretchen at the Texas dual meet.
That's true.
I mean, throw her in and she's had some trouble like putting on a fast suit and going faster. But I mean, I really think you stick her in a tech suit, especially the new like Shockwave or
Yeah.
Dude, our suits are named such crazy stuff. It's ridiculous. Wait, I just set up a poll. Listen to this. I don't want to promo other companies too much, but what is it called? It's an arena suit. Are you guys still familiar with like the new suits and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've been looking into them.
So, all right, here's actually a new one. So it's $575.
Dear God.
Power Skin Carbon Core FX Diamonds closed back.
That makes you want to buy it, doesn't it?
I don't know. I don't know what it makes me want to do. It makes me want to like take a nap. I mean, it sounds exciting, but Arena Diamond Carbon Core FX suit. Oh, this one's even further. Arena Men's Power Skin Carbon Glide SL Diamond LE.
I have to think that all the SLs and everything like that, are those acronyms? Like, what do they stand for?
I don't know. What do you guys think LE stands for a tech suit?
Laser. I don't know.
I think it's got to be laser, right? Maybe. Laser enclosed or something
like that.
But what does SL stand for? Short? No. Sprint? No.
I don't know. Super legs.
Yep, that's it.
Super long. Yeah, I have no idea. I think, and I mean, like they do that with cars too, right?
Yeah.
Like you got like the Lexus GL, or like the Audi A. I guess the A might stand for like Audi or like awesome. I don't know. But yeah, it was just a random thought that I just had because I'm putting up a new YouTube poll for what's the best suit in swimming right now. Mostly because I need to buy one.
Yeah. When are you going to suit up, do you think, first?
I'm terrified to suit.
Yeah.
Terrified to suit because if I go 59 in a Speedo, then I'm like, oh, okay. So there's still, when I throw a suit on, I'm going to go 48.6. And I just like, if I put a suit on and I go 59.9, I'm going to be like, I don't have anything else. Like I gotta figure something out. Cause I've always been the guy that throws on a suit and goes a lot faster. Rest was always really good for me. And yeah, so I'm saving it. I don't really have like a raw meet schedule lined up right now.
Yeah.
But I definitely need more racing experience because I went into that 100 breaststroke just like with zero plan. And I think that's kind of the way I wanted to do it. In that first 25, when I, for some reason, decided to take a half stroke, literally about the same distance from me to the computer. Dude, like during a race, when you do something dumb enough to be thinking about it on the second 25 instead of racing, you did something pretty dumb. And I was thinking about it. I was like, why did I do that? And I was like, all right, get back, focus and race. The clock's ticking.
Yeah. What suit do you have on the poll?
So I have the Mizuno GX Sonic.
Oh, I love the Mizuno.
That was the
one.
I've never worn one. Have you guys worn one of those?
Yeah, I was gonna recommend that. That's what I wear for my 2IM and 100 breast.
That's what I wore.
Yep.
What makes it so great? Let's do a Mizuno commercial.
I think like the buoyancy on it is insane. Like after every stroke, it literally feels like my hips are on the surface.
Really?
That's like the best part.
Yeah, because they've got those strips running down the back, right?
Yep.
Which I didn't know was like ever a thing until I had like, I think it was maybe Joe Schooling because UT is like the team that made the Mizuno famous, right?
Yep.
It was, I think, the Japanese guys and then UT. The entire team just wore them one year. I think it was the year when they went like 6 guys up in the A final of the 100 fly at NCAAs.
So wow.
Yeah, it's insane. But this new Shockwave, which actually I think that's the whole name. I think it's just the TYR Shockwave, which is great. Nice and simple.
A lot more marketable.
Well, yeah, exactly. Easier to type out. I think that one's looking pretty nice. So I'm excited to see a
go.
review or two come out. And then maybe I'll buy one, put it on ice and see what happens. I don't even know what size I am in a tech suit anymore. I was like a 26, I think, back in the day. Yeah, I bought a size 28 Speedo the other day because I thought that was my size. And I didn't try it on. I got home and it was like I could not wear it.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I can't, like, and it goes back to the series, right? I can't think that I'm who I used to be, because who I used to be was a 106 and 100 breast. I have to be this new athlete. I have to figure out how to completely throw away everything, rebuild myself, and do it in 17 months. So
yeah,
clock's ticking. I keep saying I have a lot of time, but time keeps ticking.
What invite are you most looking forward to? I'm heading up to the Minnesota invite here in a few weeks. My friend's swimming at it. So
there you go.
I'm stoked.
I mean, this one's pretty fun. I think Maggie's really exciting. And then I'm excited to see what Brooks and Baylor throw down on this 400 medley relay. I think Baylor, I don't really know what his best stroke is. I think it might be backstroke. He's like a young Carson Foster kind of.
Interesting.
And I'm excited about this one, but I mean, ASU, you got Leon Marchand, you've got, I mean, just the talent out there is growing like crazy. And one of our recruits, I got to watch him swim for the first time at the Indy World Cup, Ilya Karun. Dude, that kid is going to be terrifying. He's a Canadian guy, trains for Sandpipers in Nevada, which I need to go out there and train with those guys and have them fix me, because they're creating some ridiculous talent out there. And like Katie Grimes and Bella Sims and Ilya and all these guys and girls. But I gotta go ASU. Leon's electric. That dude.
Have you met him?
Yeah. Leon, he actually, so I didn't know who he was leading up to when he signed at ASU. And then I was like, oh, this guy's sick. And so I went to follow him on Twitter, and he already followed me. And I was like, no way. So I followed him back. And then I went to Instagram to follow him, and he already followed me. I was like, all right, cool. So yeah, I've talked to him, I think like once. I haven't been out to ASU in a minute, but I'm going out for the alumni meet out there. And I'll be doing a 50 free, maybe a 50 breast. We'll see what happens. So that's in February. And then I'm hopefully going to shoot some content with the coaches out there, record a couple of podcasts and get some content. So that should be interesting.
Cool. Yeah,
I love to hear it.
Fun episode to watch.
Yeah. So I think for a suit size, I'd say I'm 186.1. So Mizuno, I wear a large, and it is a tight squeeze.
Oh, that's right. They do
small, medium, large
numbers.
No.
Oh man, that makes my 21-year-old self just like freak out. So you're a large. You're, what do you say, 186, 6'1"?
Yeah.
Okay. How big are your legs? Are you like a leg heavy guy, or are you like a back heavy guy?
Upper body is
upper body. Dude, I need some of that. I need to figure that out, because I'm just dragging my legs through the water right now, which I think is why like a suits typically help me, is that buoyancy. You know, your legs kind of ride a little bit more. Meanwhile, right now, dude, my legs in that 100 breaststroke were like, my toes were dragging on the bottom of the pool. Yeah. It was a lot easier in a dual meet when I was like 160. But I don't know if I can put on an XL. I think a part of it also is that like, I think I need to like reform my body a little bit to the point where it's like built for breaststroke, which is like, that's the fun thing about this, is I'm literally just
learning,
using my body to just be breaststroke, turning myself as much into a frog as I possibly can. And I don't have to think about the 400 IM. I don't have to think about doing freestyle or, any of that. And when I'm in the gym, I don't have to think about anything other than being really good at the 100 breaststroke, or like my new theory is the first 100 of a 200. So maybe I'll get down to large weight, and then we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, you were saying your maxes earlier for lifting, and I'm sitting here, I bench 225, but I only squat like 250.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Adam Petey's squatting 495. So
hey, you beat him somewhere.
Yeah.
Kick rocks.
We got it. He is benching like, I think probably like 145 in each arm though. And I bet my max dumbbell bench right now is probably 55. No, it's probably like 75, but got some work to do.
Yep. All right, so we finish every episode. We just like run through a bunch of fun questions, just rattle them off. So I'll get us started. So favorite meat snack.
Oh, meat snack.
Yeah.
This is a recent one. Coconut covered cashews.
Interesting.
Ooh. Okay,
Yeah,
I like it. I like
dude, they are electric. They're so good. It's hard. I got to put them back because otherwise I'll eat like the whole thing.
Too many, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just crush it.
All right, best pool
Go ahead, Luke.
you've ever swam in.
Oh man. Mona Palmer Aquatic Center, ASU.
There you
That
go.
was it's
Love it.
I mean, memories. It's just like it's different. The hit's different, if you will.
Yeah. If you could swim with anyone, past or present, so I mean you can rip 100 frees with Abe Lincoln, or you can, do it with Phelps. Who are you doing it with?
Oh man, that's tough. I might go with Brendan Hansen.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I mean I've met Brendan a ton. I've hung out with him a lot, and yeah, I think I go with Brendan. Brendan's just like when I think 100 breaststroke, I don't think PD. I think Brendan Hansen because he was like the guy on the relay when I was growing up, and yeah, I think I'd have to go with him right now, especially with how breaststroke focused my brain is.
There you go.
Might be a boring answer, but
No,
there you go.
we like it. Unique. We haven't heard
it's-
that one yet. So
No. But prior to a swim meet, what's that last meal you're eating the day before?
Oh, dinner.
Yeah.
I've always been a pasta guy.
All
I've
right.
always gone pasta. Might not be the best move, but
I like
maybe.
it. What you throwing on the pasta? Just like red sauce, meatballs? What we going for?
I might go like a blend of like I like to do the red sauce with some Alfredo and do like
Okay.
kind of like a cream sauce and then throw some chicken on there.
Oh, I like that. That'd be
Yeah,
good.
maybe shrimp. I don't know. I'm starting to not be a shrimp guy anymore. They're kind of weird.
yeah, they are. They are interesting.
Shrimp are weird, man. Next time you eat a shrimp, think about it. Think about it while you're eating it and be like, what is this? It doesn't make any sense. Same with, lobster is good. Shrimp, I think, is just the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah, and they got those little legs and stuff.
Yeah, like it's like a sea bug. Like what's happening?
Yeah, it's like jelly. It's like if you didn't know that you were eating meat, you'd think you're eating like some weird like sea jelly, like Play-Doh, or it's weird. I don't know.
Favorite drill? Any strokes?
Ooh, for any stroke.
Yep.
2 kicks, 1 pull breaststroke.
Nice.
Solid.
Short course with pullouts because then I don't have to swim breaststroke very much because I'm not good at it on top of the water, which we're trying to solve for.
I
There you
gotcha.
go. Who's the coolest person you've ever swam with? I mean, it can just be like warm-ups at a meet or a set or anything. Just you were in the same pool as this person at the same
Coolest
time.
person. That's tough. I mean, probably Phelps.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Can't beat
he's
that.
the GOAT.
For
He's
sure.
the GOAT. So yeah, I gotta be Phelps.
Yeah, that's insane. Paul, you got any more questions for him?
Yeah, just got one more that we ask. We end every episode with
Oh,
words
yep.
of wisdom for the viewers.
If it's not working, keep going. That's kind of my ethos. If you like it and you think that you're doing good work,
Mhm.
then keep going, even if it's not working. I didn't catch steam overnight. I love the thing that's like, what's the quote? It's like, geez, sorry, there's like a NASCAR race going by outside. You guys hear that?
Yeah.
That was wild. It's like, God, what's the quote? I forget what it is. But like, if it's not working and you think you're doing a good job, just keep on keeping on. You don't become an overnight success overnight or something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Like a 10-year overnight success, or I'll look up the quote and figure it out later and DM it to you guys. But
Cool.
We'll throw it on the outro.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, if you like what you're doing, and you think your heart's in the right place, and there's an audience for it, they'll find you eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Great words of wisdom. Well, guys, that wraps up episode 19. Kyle Sockwell. We look forward to what you do in the future.
Sounds good. Y'all too. Hopefully
Yeah.
you'll have him back on in a year.
Oh,
And I'll start having you guys on at some point.
Hey,
let's go. Yeah.
I want to get flight out to the World Cup with Fina, man. Hook me up.
Hey, just keep going.
There we go.
Keep going.
That's what we
it's
plan.
let's see if we can piece it together. You're not an overnight success overnight.
There we go.
We'll go with that.
Yep.
Like
Kyle Sockwell.
That's
Throw
the
the stutter in there too.
signing out.